I-30 male, caught my wife, 29 female of 7 years, messaging her ex-boyfriend things that no husband wants to read. She begged me not to leave her, and I haven't. But I can't stop asking, what if they were never caught? It's killing me inside. Please help. When I chose to leave Mormonism a few years ago, my wife and I began experiencing troubles. We were both extremely devout. Despite the fact that we remained together, our marriage struggled as my opinions and perceptions on some issues started to shift radically, eventually changing me. I began to doubt my intentions for marrying and having children at such a young age, which caused me to become angry and resentful. I absolutely acknowledged that I was a bad spouse at this period. We split up for about 2 months after this, and something remarkable occurred while she was away living with her Uber Mormon parents. She investigated what I had and also discovered that Mormonism was a hoax. She ultimately returned home, but things didn't improve much. I was still a little remote, and I had grown preoccupied with demonstrating religion and God in general. This lasted nearly a year. We had a massive disagreement in November of 2013, which put me on the sofa. I couldn't sleep, so I took her iPad. I discovered a series of Facebook chats between her and her ex-boyfriend, of whom she has always talked highly. The only reason they didn't marry was because he wasn't a Mormon, and her parents would not have approved. They've been chatting on and off for roughly 8 months, nothing really serious. Their most recent email, on the other hand, was a little thicker. She told him how much she regretted not marrying him because of their religious differences and how wonderful they would have been together. She also said that she had occasional fantasies about them reuniting. She concluded by claiming she still loved him. He reacted by saying he felt the same way. Reading this and realizing where it was coming from gave me a much-needed wake-up call. I realized I was pushing the most essential thing in the world away from me. When I questioned her about it, she was very angry, but after a lengthy discussion and many tears, we made it through the night unscathed. The next month was without a doubt one of the nicest we ever had. Everything appeared to have improved enormously, from our life to the way we communicated. In addition, I requested her to kindly cease talking with her ex, which she appeared to accept. I awoke to the sound of my phone buzzing about a month into our freshly rejuvenated relationship. It was a message from my ex-wife. Boyfriends, she claimed that when she arrived home, she found her husband looking guilty on his phone. She ultimately pulled everything out of him and sent it to me. After pulling it all together, their conversations that day/night looked like this. He writes her on Facebook in the middle of the day to tell her that he has to tell her something important. She answers and informs him that she, too, would want to speak, but is unable to do so at the time. We were at a bowling alley with our kids. As a result, they agreed to communicate at night. Around 10 p.m., she tells me she can't sleep and wants to watch a program she knows I can't stand, Revenge. I'm going to bed. They begin writing soon after, but she assures him that emailing is safer since I have gone into her Facebook in the past. He begins by informing her that he has never stopped loving her, and that learning about her leaving Mormonism was terrible since it was the one thing that kept them apart. She assures him that she would always love him and wishes things had gone differently. She tells him that the previous few years have been tough for her, but that she has been trying recently, so she is willing to give it one more go. Some back and forth about his terrible marriage occurs. He then hits a bit and asks if she wants to meet up if he ever comes to Salt Lake City. He adds he'd like to buy her a drink now that she has one. She says she can't since I'm already suspicious. She also mentions that the two of them drinking together could get a bit out of hand. He attempts to get additional information from her by asking what sort of insane she is. She thinks he's humorous and expresses how ridiculous she becomes when buzzed. He may have felt dumb, so he apologizes and asks if he is being too flirtatious and making her uncomfortable by discussing mature topics. She claims that he is not being overly flirtatious and that she is not uncomfortable discussing mature topics. She also adds, "Have you forgotten about me that much?" She tells him she has to go to bed, but she still wants to speak to him. She also claims she'll be setting up a new email account and requests him to remove their texts. He inquires as to what they are doing. He replies she doesn't know and will have to wait and see. She admits that she is aware that she misses him. He adds one more question. Does she miss his toying with her boobs? This irritates her more than anything else, since he thinks about it often. Aha, I figured, she says exactly. Yes. Now, delete and good night. The idiot does not delete. When his wife returns home, she pulls it out of him. Texts my wife, accusing her of being a home destroying and informing her that she has passed the text to me. In the midst of reading everything, I hear my wife hurry down the hallway, open the door, and instantly break down and apologize for being so dumb. She is sobbing uncontrollably. I panic out in my own way, claiming she's just unhappy because she got caught, and so on. I tell her we're divorcing and attempt to leave the home. She clings to me and refuses to let me go. She admits that she was caught up in the moment and had no intention of things going anywhere. She brings up the fact that I withheld love for all those years, which was one of the reasons she did what she did. She said that she enjoyed getting comments from him and did not want them to stop. I mentioned how things have been going so well for her over the past month, and how I provided her with everything she needs. She expresses skepticism about the relationship's long-term viability. I tell her I want a divorce once again, and she eventually lets me go. She is in tears. I go to my friend's house. She texted me all night, and I didn't react a single time. I returned the next morning with the overpowering sensation that I did not want to divorce. We chatted some more, and I apologized to her. Things have been up and down since then. She's told him multiple times that she doesn't want anything to do with him, and I believe he finally got the point. But I can't get rid of the what if feeling. How long would that have lasted? What exactly is she capable of? What would have happened if they hadn't been caught? These questions are killing me, as is the way I feel when I think about them. I suppose all I need is some fresh eyes. I really appreciate it. Story 2. I, male 31, caught my wife. Female 36, cheating. We broke up, but have to live together for the foreseeable. Need advice. We've been together for 9 years, married for 2.5 years, lived together for 7 years, and own 2 homes, one for her parents and one for ourselves. We don't have a lot of unsecured debt, PS4 5K/C $6.5K, on credit cards since I make PS $30K/$40K and she makes PS $60K/$80K. We each have our own automobile. There are no children. 2 canines? Mine. Unfortunately, owing to just living in the newer of the 2 residences for 18 months, there have been relatively little savings. I discovered my wife cheating on me for the second time in 10 months with the same man last weekend. I swallowed my pride and forgave her the first time, and while we were happy, it took me a long time to begin to trust her again. For many reasons, she didn't stop contact with the guy as planned, and lo and behold, it occurred again 10 months later. I caught her red-handed this time, no denying it, and I have no intention of continuing the marriage. I've been dating into work and keeping myself busy all week, but the weekends have always been our time, so I knew it would strike me most on the weekend. I'm an accountant, and I've always used a spreadsheet to handle our money, which I update on a regular basis. I signed in last night and experimented with several situations, but I'm having trouble seeing the long term at the present. We sat down and spoke about money, and we decided that for the time being, not much can change in terms of expenses, so I devised a plan to pay off the credit cards, one over 3 months that isn't interest-free, and the other over 12 months that is. After the bills are paid, we'll both have much more discretionary money than we've ever had. PS $900/$1,200 on my side and PS $1,700/$2,200 on hers. Sorry for the length, but I simply wanted to emphasize that we are financially stable both together and separately, with no dependents. The true problem is that I don't have someplace to go. My parents live in a 1-bedroom apartment, and her parents reside in our old home, and owing to medical issues, I have no intention of moving them out or bringing my wife in and irritating them. The purpose of this agreement was for them to spend the rest of their life in this home. I care about these folks and don't want her daughter's actions to jeopardize that arrangement. As a result, we're still living in the same home for the time being. I'm in the spare bedroom, and the rest of the home is ours. That's really strange. We're nearly behaving normal, but we're not eating or sleeping together. I'm not resentful for the time being. In fact, a huge part of me anticipated her to do it again, so I'm pleased on some way that I no longer have to cope with the suspicion or worry. But I'm at a loss on what to do in the long run. I dropped 5 pounds in 1 week since I haven't eaten much. So I'm curious if anybody has been in a similar situation. Could you suggest anything I should be doing to better prepare myself for when things become ugly? I have a free day ticket to my gym that I'm going to use today in the hopes that it will assist with my discipline and attention, but other than that, I'm absolutely lost. I apologize in advance for the lengthy message and any spelling errors. I'm on my phone. Thank you for your consideration. Update. Even if some of it is undeservedly heinous, I talked with her parents, and they are ready to go in a few months, so I'm going to move back into my old home. I spoke with the ex, who was inebriated, and he was going to divide up the belongings, and I'd end up with the dogs. The remainder will be handled by attorneys. Thank you for reading my article.